Wish I had a MacBook. That was really awkward standing. Okay. Hello. It's Will Max. We are here today to do a discussion type video on building an AR on a budget, an actual budget, not an Instagram budget, not a YouTuber budget.
Yeah.
A real tax-paying $548 every 2 weeks paycheck budget. A real ass budget.
I mean, I'm not that poor, but
I'm close.
Yeah.
So we're here today to talk about actually building an AR on a budget and what that means to us and how we did it. And I want to talk a little bit about why I think it's important to build your AR on a budget, because the more people that are aware that this is not a multi-$1,000 object, and that it only takes an hour, and that you absolutely are capable of building this, the more prepared the country will be, and the more informed people will be. I absolutely was not an expert on ARs. I absolutely am not now, but I've learned a lot building several of them over the last few years. So you gain knowledge, and you gain protection for your family and your loved ones, and you gain, I don't know, a sense of freedom.
Well, not only that, but you can, if you build one, put one together yourself, you can get a lot better items, like a lot better, parts on it than you would buying one.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that the budget ARs that are built like the Ruger AR-556 or the Smith & Wesson, M&P,
or whatever.
Spore, whatever. Not saying those are bad.
No.
But when you put one together yourself, you can, you're saving money, so you're not, I already got a buttstock on it, but I want this one. Or I want, different parts. You can all do that. And so you're not spending extra money and stuff like that. That's why I thought it was cool. And honestly, the reason I got into it was I didn't have $600-700 to spend at one time.
Nope.
So I was like, well, I'm gonna buy the lower receiver stripped, and then we'll go from there. Got the parts kit with the trigger and all that, and then later picked up the buttstock, then later picked up the grip, and what took the longest was picking up the upper, just because it's so expensive. What we did, both of us, was we put the lower together ourselves and then bought the upper already complete. It's not impossible to do it like that, to put the upper together yourself. Personally, I wasn't comfortable doing it. Hopefully soon we'll give it a shot. It's not super hard. I watch a bunch of videos on it. It's just, I'd rather just buy one, put together. It's just easier.
If you're mechanically inclined, I'll say you have some tools, and if you can put ball joints in your wife's Hyundai, then you could definitely do an upper in a day. It's not a big deal.
No.
Basically, it is. Every AR I've ever built was built without a bench vise, and I'm going to catch a lot of flack for that because that's impossible. And every AR build series on YouTube starts with okay, here's the best Wilton bench vise you can buy at Lowe's for $16. I've never built one with a bench vise. My AR was built with hand tools and an Irwin vice grip, pistol grip clamp, and channel locks and cold punch. I mean, you don't.
Do you want to catch more flack?
Sure.
We didn't use castle nut wrenches.
Didn't use castle nut wrenches. Sorry. That's the thing, is that everybody gets really wrapped around the axle about a lot of that stuff, and I think 10% of it is legit. As in, if you plan to build your own upper and you want to do it free float and stuff, you absolutely need a torque wrench. You must go to an auto parts store and rent a torque wrench. You must do those things correctly. You can very much so hurt yourself. However, 90% of it I think is BS. I think this whole thing of ARs have to be built a certain way and have to use certain parts, and my AR is not cool because I don't have the latest and greatest trigger kit in it, or his AR is not cool because it has an A2 front sight post or whatever. I think that stuff's horse malarkey. The importance of it is the rifle.
Yeah.
And the fact that you built the rifle, and the fact that you know how to use the rifle, and you familiarize yourself with it.
Yeah. And when you build it yourself, when you put when I'm putting the whole trigger in there and everything else, you're learning more about the rifle. You're learning how it works. It's honestly, it's like super nice to do, and then at the end of the day you feel really good about yourself because not only did you build something, but you also know how it works like a lot better, you know. So it's really cool. Putting the lower together is like freaking super easy. I think me and Will did it in like 10, 15 minutes.
Half hour tops.
Yeah, maybe a half hour.
Absolutely.
But it was really easy. And so, you know, my biggest thing is you can save some money putting one together yourself, and you get to pick out the parts that you want. If you don't want like the crappy A2 you know, pistol grip, you put whatever you want, mag pull and all that stuff. So that's really cool. If you want to go out and put a super sweet trigger in there, good for you. Go for it. Right. You know, you can do that, and that's nice. And it's not buying a gun that's already put together and then spending more money on it to make it better.
Right.
You're making a really good gun right out of the gate.
And there are lots of good out of the box guns, like we said. I think the biggest argument that I always hear from gun guys that know what they're talking about, and that part's important, against building your own AR is, yes, but it's not factory built and it wasn't factory tested and it's not factory proven because it was not built as a unit. I am not disagreeing with that at all. I 100% agree with those things being facts, but the fact of the matter is, I've also done a lot of shooting and I've seen lots of factory ARs have problems and I've seen lots of home-built ARs have problems, and that's not necessarily an excuse, but I'm just saying I don't think with modern tolerances and modern machining and the state of the firearms industry now, it's not like we're taking bushy uppers in 2001 and trying to put them on top of Armalite lowers and having all kinds of problems. I mean, we've come a really long way. And especially with how prolific the spikes and Anderson lowers are and stuff, there's just way too many people that aren't having problems for that to even be an argument at this point.
Yeah. So, like, a lot of people call them hobby ARs.
Right.
But a lot of times you find that the hobby ARs run just as good, if not better, than, you know, your factory stuff. And, hey, whatever floats your boat.
Right.
But we're just saying, if you want to save a little bit of money, you want to understand your gun a little bit better,
gun.
You know, you want to feel accomplished, put one together yourself. It's like, honestly, dude, it's really simple.
It's very
There's
easy.
Like 8 billion YouTube videos on it. And honestly, if I can do it, anyone can do it. Like,
I feel the same way.
Like,
for sure.
really, it's super easy. We used like a screwdriver, a couple punches, a hammer.
I mean, it's
and an Allen wrench.
There's nothing to it, man. The lower. Don't be intimidated by building a lower.
No. When I first bought the lower, I told my friend, he was like, "Oh, you're gonna screw it up. It's really hard. I heard it's really hard. It's not. It's not. Do some research. Figure it out yourself. It's honestly, it's really easy, really cool, really fun.
Yep.
Hopefully, we'll put together an upper soon. That would be fun. Like I said, we opted to not do that. It takes a couple more tools.
It does.
It's a little bit harder, but it's still doable, and there's still a bunch of videos out on YouTube.
And we didn't do a build video.
So.
Those are kind of played out. There's no reason that our build video would be any different or definitely not more professional.
No, basically our build video would be watching a build video,
and us
doing it, and then just regurgitating the information.
No,
who the hell wants to watch that?
So, but absolutely, go out there, learn about them, shoot them, and build them, and arm yourselves. And it's absolutely a cool experience, and I do think people should be doing it.
For sure.
Well,
everyday gear
for everyday people.